Bounty hunters. Life on the blockchain.
Welcome back. We are with Mr. Zigtur. Is that how I pronounce it?
Yeah, that's it.
What does this handle even mean?
Bro, I don't even know. Like, it just came out of my mind when I did not even start. Like, it was even before I do any security on blockchain. So I don't know. It just sounds good.
It makes no sense, but fine. I love it. So Mr. Zigtur here has got quite a background. He is basically if you just pull up his Cantina profile, and I'm going to put these links in the podcast. You have some impressive accolades here. I gotta say, man, I'm very impressed. You are a king of Rust, Go, and Solidity. And I looked at some of your side projects here, just humble side projects, and I'm just guessing. I'm trying to guess what your background is, but it's so hard to tell. Is it? It's got to be some sort of you love math. How much math do you love? What's your favorite math book? There has to be something there because I'm looking at these side projects like, just fool around with some BLS signature here. Just and the whole write up and all this stuff doesn't interest a normal person. So tell me kind of where you're coming from.
So, yeah, I'm still pretty young. So I finished my studies like 1 year and a half ago. And it was just general cybersecurity studies. And yeah, during the studies, there was some math, and I really ate them. Like, it was fucking boring, and we were studying elliptic curve, but really focused on the math part. And I just did not like it. I had pretty good results, but it was not for me. And then I was surprised when I joined the blockchain side and just really loved the math, at least the elliptic curve math that were behind. And but yeah, just 1 year before that, I was hating them. So I think that it's more about I was aware of how it is used, and so it was more practical approach, and so I enjoyed it. And yeah, besides from that, I'm just a monkey. I like to learn anything, so I'm learning Golang while I'm auditing Rust, while I'm auditing Solidity. I don't want to focus on one thing. Yeah, that's it. I just learn. I love it.
That seems like a common thing among us intellectually curious. And I mean, God, man, I think in this field I get older and older every person I talk to. Jesus Christ, that's awesome. Let me ask you this: your accent, is that French?
Yeah.
So why didn't you become a DeFi founder? Because that's usually mandatory if you're French.
A what?
A DeFi founder. All the guys in DeFi. It's a joke, but they're mostly French. There's a lot of French
Oh
in
yeah, there are a
crypto.
lot.
Yeah, and I don't think I've ran into a security researcher yet who's French. So this is a new one.
Oh, don't you know Sergic? He's a really great one.
Really, I haven't spoken to him yet. I know his name, but I haven't spoken to him yet. Another Frenchie. You're invading.
Yeah, there are some French in the place. We were a big team in Bangkok. It was crazy.
Were you doing a hackathon?
We did not. We were just here for the DSS. Were you in Bangkok?
I was there, but I
Oh,
missed the
okay.
first part, the DSS.
Okay, then I think we didn't meet here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, that was really nice event.
And so what made you kind of kick off on like did you see these bounty numbers and did you say, "Hey, I'm going to jump into web3 security?" Like were you in crypto in high school? I mean, how did you kind of get into this?
Well, I was interested in crypto in 2021 or something like that. And for some reason, I studied smart contract, but like for a week, and then stopped everything for about a year. But I was still interested in it. And so in my studies, there was just a project that we had to do. And so I took some friends and tell them, hey, why don't we study blockchain? But a good way to do it is to use post-quantum cryptographic algorithm, because like the NIST published in 2022, they published their results about three signature algorithm that are supposed to be unbreakable by quantum computers. And so we just took one of these algorithm and implemented it inside of a blockchain. So as a blockchain, we took Near, the Near blockchain. It's based on Rust. And the main argument why we took it is because we wanted to learn Rust. And yeah, that was it. That was a really good project. And I was like, okay, I want to do blockchain now. This is for sure. So after this project, I just studied smart contract with rare skills as a student.
Mm-hmm.
I took like the
They're very good.
Solidity. Yeah.
I like them.
But at the time, they were just starting the company, and it was a bet for me to learn with them because they did not have the reputation that they have now. And yeah, I did it, so it was pretty nice. And after that, I just went all in on Cantina, and it like the two times Rare Skills started their company, and I was looking for a course, so we grew up together. And it's basically the same with Cantina. They were just starting competitions, and I was too. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's
And
it.
why didn't you start doing? Why did you go competitions instead of doing bug hunting?
Well, that's a good one. So at first, I was in a company, but as I was just I had just finished my studies. Like, at least in France, you are pretty locked to the junior level, no matter what you do. Even if you are the best in the company, like you will be junior for at least 1 year and a half. And yeah, it was not for me. So I I started competition on the side because of Sherlock and Code Arena. They were just famous at that time, and Cantina started, so I took competitions on Cantina. But I had to say that I did not even think about bug hunting on Imunify or live projects.
Hmm. It's. I mean, it sounds like you were motivated pretty much by just the technicality of it, just the complexity and the kind of. It's just very interesting. I think is that really what drives you towards doing. Um, I mean, just digging into it could be contests or. I mean, you wrote a whole. I don't want to say a whole. Is it a whole ZK book or just a portion of it for the rare skills?
Oh no, I just participated as a student. Like
Oh,
I
okay.
did not write it.
Oh, okay. Okay. I misunderstood on your I was looking on your Cantina page. You have everything listed
Oh
on
yeah,
there.
maybe it's
Yeah.
confusing.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I mean what motivates you? I mean, obviously the money's good, but is it more just curiosity? You like to kind of challenge yourself to see what other guys can't find? Or is it just find the bugs? Like that's really cool for you? Or what would you say it was?
Uh, I think that competitions are better to learn in a quick way than bug hunting. So maybe that now that I have a pretty good level in auditing, I could go into bug hunting. But yeah, I think at first competitions are really good too. just improve yourself, and you really know how you perform. While in bug hunting, it's pretty hard to know. Uh, there is not a feedback loop that is quick. So yeah, I think it's one of the main point why I love competitions. It's because you can learn really efficiently and in a quick way.
And what's the longest you'd say you spent on like one competition?
The like I think it's in weeks, but something like 2 or 3 weeks maximum.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if I take all the history uh, of my contest that I did, there are a lot. I did not have good results in all of them for sure, but yeah, as I said, I'm just a monkey and I love to learn. So sometimes I just stop one project to go to another and then come back because the other was not good. And yeah, maybe I would be more efficient if I was really focusing on one project at a time, but it's no fun to me. So yeah, I think
I think
it's,
we all do this. Yeah, we all just jump around quite a bit.
yeah.
I love your avatar. That's why I initially looked at you. I was like this fucking deformed Spider-Man who looks retarded. I love this thing.
Yeah, it matches the name. The name looks retarded. The profile picture also.
It's so fucking stupid. I love it, man. No, but and I'm looking at this Barachain one where and obviously the competition that I did, I sucked really hard. It's just hard for me to kind of, I guess, lock in because I always think, like, say I'm trying to do a competition. I'll pull a code base. I'll see a Cantina competition, and I just pull up the GitHub, and I kind of skim through it, and I'm just like, okay, does this look interesting? Where I could spend 2 weeks on whatever the normal timeline is, and then I'm like, maybe I'll start looking at it, and then it's just I'll get so distracted with some. As soon as I hit the block explorer, I get I get distracted with something else, and then I'm like, oh shit, there could be a bug in this contract that I just pulled up somewhere else, and I swear it's like a magnet, and it just pulls me away. So how do you stay focused on like, hey, all right, I'm gonna talk about this Barachain one because you dominated, you beat what's his name, Christoph, who was I think the first Cantina Fellowship guy, and he got a bunch of publicity, and you just dominated, man. You had 5 high risk, he had 1, and Haxatron had 3. So, how many weeks was that? Is this Go or is this Solidity?
Yeah, it was Golang. It was basically it was just Cosmos SDK chain,
Mm-hmm.
but only for the consensus part. And on the execution client part, they are using the EVM, the classic EVM clients like Go Ethereum or Ref or anything else. And that was not the first time that I saw a code base like this, because back in November there was Omni. It was a 1 million competition, and they were doing pretty much the same thing, interfacing from Cosmos SDK. So the Cosmos SDK blocks are sort of the consensus block that are used in Ethereum, if we can make the parallel. Um, and yeah, I start to really understand how Cosmos SDK and the Comet BFT consensus protocol works. So yeah, I was just able to find bugs. And the funny thing about this competition is that, so in Omni, I did Omni also and made a pretty good result, if I remember. But I found some bugs in Omni that were also in Berachain, but I did not report them in Berachain because I just forgot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you would have
So
had more than 5 highs had you dropped some Omni ones in there as well.
Yeah, I did not find a single medium, but I found like exactly the same issue in Omni before. So I would have maybe one or two medium at least. But yeah, that
And what was your level of Go understanding like before you went into this? Since you did Omni
I
before, you were pretty competent, I'd assume.
yeah yeah. Uh, Yeah, I mean, Go is pretty simple to learn. The first time I really focused on Go, it was for another competition named Babylon. It was for BTC stacking
Oh,
on the
that's right.
BTC
I looked at
chain.
that. Yeah. Aren't they
Yeah,
holding
and
a billion or probably more, like 5 billion
today,
TVL?
yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
crazy.
it's crazy. And yeah, it's just, I mean, as I have all the understanding of cybersecurity in general. Like, I know how the internet works. I know how a server works, how an operating system works. And when you have all this knowledge and you know one next generation language such as Rust, then Go is pretty much the same thing. But the syntax is different, that's for sure. But there are some concepts that are pretty similar. So I'm not lost with Golang since day one. So yeah, and I don't think that I'm finding issues related directly to the language, but more how things are implemented. And you also need a lot of knowledge of how Cosmos SDK works, not about how Golang works, I think.
Mm. Is there some common kind of bugs or patterns that you look for when you look at Go projects?
On Cosmos SDK particularly, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
You mean on Cosmos SDK or on Golang in
Well,
general?
I'd say in general, and then I guess Cosmos would be a whole separate kind of system within that Go would be used in. So you'd have your own unique bugs there as well. But like I'm sure I haven't even looked at Go. I'm sorry. Like I don't know. I don't know if things if you can overflow integer. I haven't looked at any of that kind of stuff. So maybe like what do you think? So let's see. Maybe we can focus on something relevant, like because I see a lot of Cosmos SDK based projects out there. So maybe you can highlight something that maybe certain areas for people to look at if they see one of these projects.
Yeah. So most of the time, for Cosmos SDK code bases, they are using the Comet BFT consensus protocol, and it's pretty simple how it works. Like, you have, uh, let's say, three steps. The first step is name prepare proposal, and it will just select one validator uh, from all the validators in the network, and it will ask him to generate a proposal. So most of the time it's a block, and then in the second step, this proposal that has been created by the selected validator is verified by all the other validators. This is the process proposal step. Uh, and so at this point, every validator in the network will validate this block. So if there is one missing check or something is done wrong here, um, you are pretty sure that it will be critical issue. And the final step, once every validator in the network has validated it, they will finalize the block. And this part, you will find this is how you find discrepancy. If something is not checked in the process proposal, but there is something new, a new check in finalize block, you may find something that can crash the chain, or things like that. So pretty critical issue, and that's why what I did for Berachain, I really focused on the process proposal part.
Okay. I have to give this a look sometimes because I see this more and more. I think Barachain was the most recent one, and sometimes those are intimidating when you see either a bounty or a contest for. I mean, these because what happens is these teams will build these products over 6 months, a year, more than a year, and they've put all this time and thought into them, and the design is complex. And then suddenly it's posted. It's like, hey, look, go find bugs in there. And it's easy to look at it and say, well, okay, let me just quickly jump in. But it could take you a full day to kind of wrap your head around it and say, okay, wait a minute, look at all these moving pieces. How does this actually work? And then just getting your testing environment set up sometimes as well. If you're, forking a chain here, running Anvil over here, you have some agent you have to run. So, and I think, in my point of view, more complexity is better, obviously, because there's more possible bugs that could arise and something that someone's missed. But when you see those kind of things, like on a complex contest, how do you approach it? Do you have any sort of mythology that you could share, or is it just kind of go in, just try to understand it the best you could, and then go after it line by line? Like, what do you do?
Yeah. So I like to do drawings, and I do drawings that helps me navigate the code base. That's an important point of my review methodology. And these drawings allows me to. So basically, when I was talking about Cosmos SDK and the the 3 steps I was talking about, I really add a drawing with these 3 steps and all the functions graph call, and I could just navigate it and understand which step is calling what, which part of the code, and so yeah, I really have to understand how it works, and I can, if I can't explain it to my mother, like I don't understand the
Your
code base,
mother.
and yeah, I
Oh
mean,
my God.
I don't. She don't care. She doesn't care. So um, like yeah. It's that's it. I need to have this knowledge of, okay, I know how it works now, and now that I know it, I can find bugs.
So you come up from the basement and your mom pours you some frosted flakes. Actually French. She gives you a croissant, and then you're telling her, "Hey mom, listen. All right, so I'm diving into this this Cosmos SDK."
No, I don't talk to her about it, but let's say to a friend that is a bit technical, if I can explain him and he has questions that are relevant, and if I'm not able to answer directly, then I don't know the code base enough.
Mm-hmm. No, that's a classic uh, test. If you can explain something perfectly, then you know your shit. But if you can't explain it, you don't know it as well as you think you know it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think I do that with my kids, and no one listens. Which is why I go to crypto conferences and even on the podcast to talk about things is good because not many people really have any clue what me and you are talking about, especially not our moms, at least not mine.
Yeah.
Maybe French moms built different.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, that's cool, man. So now you're locked into. Yeah, I don't know how's the deal work with Cantina. They signed you up like you're on a salaried role, and then you only do contests with them. Is it exclusive?
Yeah, I have like an exclusivity contract, but seeing, like, just by looking at the current market of security competitions, I think it's the right call to engage. Uh, it was the right call to engage with Cantina because, like, they are crushing it. literally like I don't even know how many competitions were six figures competitions in 2024, but it was like 6 or 7 competitions. So yeah, I'm definitely overbooked with them, so I don't need to go to Sherlock or Canary now or anything else. And yeah, I have some bonus that came in when I do good results in competitions.
And then
Uh,
you can also like they can book you through like a company can book for an audit with you through Cantina. Is that
yeah,
how that works?
exactly.
Okay.
And also, as Cantina is also Spearbit, like I have
Right. Right.
deals coming in from Spearbit.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember talking to Dead Roses. He was saying like his goal was to make a mill last year, and he hit that goal.
Yeah,
And he did. I think he broke it down like 250 from Spearbit, and then I don't know, maybe the rest was competitions or something. Like he was going crazy as well. Um, yeah, it's insane. Like the amount of, and I think he's around your age, which is also very cool.
yeah. He's pretty young. I met him in Bangkok, and yeah, making 1 million a year is crazy.
I mean,
Like,
at 13 years old, you know what a beast.
yeah,
Guy's an animal. But I'm looking at. Have you been to the dailywarden.com?
yeah,
Shout out to Alex, the entrepreneur who I met in Bangkok. He's an Italian guy who's all over the place, but he set up this cool website. And just right here, I see 3 going on with Cantina right now, and 100 grand, 2 mil for with the Ethereum Foundation, which is great to see, and then another for 60K. So that beats, I think, every other platform up here right now as far as dollar figure.
yeah. And if you look back in just in January, there was a Chain that was a private competitions that you can access only if you are a fellow or in Spearbit.
Mm-hmm.
There was also, so there was Chain, there was the uh, Ronin blockchain.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it was a 500K competition that was private also. There was Story that was a 1 million competition. So yeah, it was more than 2 million in January also. So it's crazy how they evolved.
And what do you feel about the competition?
What do you mean?
Like
Like competitions
that
with
that's
others?
that's how high up you are. You're just like, what do you mean competition? I don't see anybody else. No, I mean when you go and say, all right, this just launched. Like, all right, I'm looking at the Ethereum one coming up on actually started a few days ago. That one is a big number, 2 million, and you know everybody's going to be on that. So how do you feel like going into that? Is that intimidating for you, or do you just look at it like anything else, or do you think like this is going to be incredibly complex? This is, what's your view when you see something like that, and do you have time and like do you even have time to pursue something like that, or are you totally packed? How does it kind of work for you?
Yeah. These days I have a problem. I need to choose between private audits and competitions like this. This one is crazy, so I try to book sometimes to do it. Um, but yeah, I know that a lot of people are gonna participate in it, but I don't really care if I can learn a ton in this project, and especially on the consensus part. Because I know how the execution layer works, but I never studied how the consensus layer, all the engines that are available.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they work, so I need to study that. And I think I will just focus on this part. And if I do a good result, then that's good. If I don't, then I would have learned a ton. So that's the main point at the end.
Mm. Yeah, I agree. Just I can't think of a cooler thing to do than do this competition. To be honest, like just looking through the write up right now, it just looks so interesting. Like
Yeah,
if you're intellectually curious, and like you said, if you don't understand uh, the consensus layer, well, look what a great way to incentivize you to try to understand it and break it.
exactly. And I mean, the code base is so huge that even if you find a bug that is not part of the competition, because in the competition there are only the changes that are made for Pectra and for the
Hmm.
Pectra upgrade that are in scope. And if you find a bug that is not in this scope, then you have to report it in through the Ethereum bug bounty platform. So you still have an incentive to do so.
That's true. Yeah. What do you say about using? All right, I'm thinking about. I don't know if they use it with Cantina, but with Code Arena, they had that guy Light Chaser who came up with that bot that found all
Yeah.
these low issues and everything. Do they do that with Cantina as well?
Yeah. Like Chaser is
So,
also using his bot on Cantina.
which was pretty cool. I like that thing. And how? And I don't know the mechanics of it, but I know he can just add in a little logic for different patterns. I don't know how complex it gets. I think it's just simple things, high level bugs. But with the introduction of, because he made that before LLMs came out. So with, if you combine that with LLMs and they're getting better and better, like, and like look at Cursor. I don't know if you've played with that as well. How long do you think these are a threat to, where you just get, somebody's not going to be public about it either. They're going to be on the board and they're just going to dominate, and they're not going to say who they are or why they're dominating. But like, what do you think about that when just the threat of machines taking over and dominating these competitions for better or for worse?
Uh, I mean, I think that if at some point an LLM is able to do what I'm doing today, though we would be so far in humanity that nobody would work. So yeah, I mean, we are in a field that is so technically complex, especially on code bases. Sometimes you need context information, and it's pretty
Mhm.
hard to understand everything. Yeah, like if an AI can do it, I mean, there is not a lot of job in the world that they can't do. So yeah, I'm not afraid of that, to be honest.
I feel like it should be able to do it already, but
Hmm.
maybe I'm just looking too far ahead. Obviously, I haven't found where it's been able to do it, and I don't think anyone else has yet. Maybe very limited things, like I said, like light chaser type stuff, high level bugs, yeah. But anything where you just, because I was playing with Cursor and I'm trying to develop this little project on the side, and so I was using Cursor and LLMs, and even then it still messes up, and it's like, well, everyone keeps talking about how good it is, and it is good, but not for this kind of task yet.
Yeah, yeah. I don't really know. I think I do not master enough the LLMs, but yeah, like as we are working directly on code and AI is code, maybe it will be the first thing that will be improved because developers don't want to code anymore, which is okay. Uh, but yeah, auditing is pretty different, and to be honest, I don't know if we are going to be replaced,
Yeah, I
but it's possible. Yeah,
I don't think we will, at least for a long time, because my theory is that the more devs that use the stuff, they make the machines make mistakes, and then the devs get complacent and they deploy it out there, and then the humans find the bugs that the first humans missed because complacency.
Yeah.
because the LLMs, all that stuff, man, they'll make some code that works, but they fuck it up a lot too. So to trust them with your security is just we're just not there yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll happen though, man. I mean, at some point, but I think you're right. I think we have a long runway here.
Yeah, I think writing code and really deeply understanding everything, because that's what we do. It's pretty different, and yeah, I think we have time
Yeah.
to just make money on competitions and bug hunting.
So, I mean, this is your career now, right? You're done with school and you're full in bug hunting. You have this great gig with Cantina. This is your career, at least for the next 5 years. Like you see, this is what you're doing full time.
Yeah, at least for now. Maybe in a year I will be bored or something like that. But for now, I feel that I can still improve, and I can still learn. But if at some point I don't learn anything new, and I don't miss any bug, but that would be crazy. Um, I may get bored, but yeah, not for now.
How do we get you to start looking for some bounties?
Yeah, I, I tried once, but it was not like in competitions. You know that you have an ending point, and you can just focus on your code base. And I don't know, bug bounty. I was like, okay, I can look at this code, but I need to really focus and allocate time for it. Um,
Well, it's the same as what you're doing now. It's just it's not time boxed.
yeah, that's
I
it.
mean,
If
because
it's not,
let's look like this Barachain thing, right? If you didn't compete, those bugs wouldn't have been found. And yet you would
yeah,
have had those two guys. Okay, we found the top two. And then you could have said, hey, great. Now's a great chance to show up my competitors here or collaborators, however you call them, and go find a live bug that's out there in the system.
yeah, that's true. Um, Maybe I should allocate some time in the future to do it.
Dude, if you're number one on these contests, I think that should give you enough confidence to say, hey, you know what? I bet I could find shit that no one else is looking at if I put the time into one of these projects. I challenge
Yeah,
you. I challenge you to go take the biggest bounty up. Go find the layer 0 bug that we can't find. It's out there somewhere for someone.
yeah. Or how many dollar it is for layer zero?
15 million.
15 million.
In my view, I think there won't be a bug found that captures that full amount unless there's some sort of you know, actually thinking about the code, because I was going to say unless they make a change to the code, but it's all immutable. Um, yeah, all I see is like a private key leak or malware attack.
Yeah. Or I'm thinking like, for example, a change in the Ethereum virtual machine that would break some assumptions
Oh
from
yeah,
layer zero.
and maybe you
Especially,
go ahead.
yeah, especially there is an EIP, the 7702. Did you study it, or do you know
Which
what
one is
it do?
that? Let's
So
see.
basically, it's a new type of transaction
Oh, it's
that
part of
allows.
Pectra.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was working on it this morning. So, uh,
No, tell us
uh,
about it.
s- so basically, it's a new transaction types that allows you to set code to externally owned accounts, and it's yeah, you can just delegate. It's called delegate, and so you can just put the bytecode of an existing smart contract and execute it inside of your externally owned account. And we know that there are some protections sometimes, like we are checking that it's an EOA that is doing the call, by checking that the origin of the transaction is the message sender. But now, with as EOA are able to execute bytecode, there is a change in the VM and assumptions may be broken. So yeah, I don't see how it can be applied to layer 0, but maybe it will be for other projects. I don't know.
So does this break the message sender TX origin check?
Well, it does not, but if you take the assumption that your EOA can't execute code, this assumption is not true anymore. So yeah, maybe there will be bugs with that.
That's a good point. Yeah, that someone's not thinking about. Or with Pectra. I have to look at this. This is going to be pretty interesting. And I really just and another thing with this ecosystem is you can't track everything all at once. It's just fucking impossible.
Yeah.
I mean, I tried to so I put aside DeFi for so long because I'm always looking at contracts, and then like just yesterday, and I tweeted this. I longed Ethereum for the first time, and I got fucking blown out, and I was like, my god, this piece of shit. But I was using the DeFi ecosystem, and it had been so long since I'd done anything, and now we have all these chains, bridges, and this and that, and it was incredibly complicated to be able to do certain things with the liquid staking. Stake on mainnet, bridge a token over here, this and that, and then, wait 14 days to unstake, move these around, like doing chain things. It's so fucking complicated that,
Yeah.
which is great. Like, there's bugs, there's complexity. It's cool. But as a user, it sucks, man. It's as complex as you want it to be. But when you want to just do something or try something new out, you have to be a technician. You can't be just an end user unless you have some, um, you know, walled garden that has, made a pre-made pathway for you to take this from your bank account straight to, the new project. But if you just are on blockchain X and you want to move it over here and do it all yourself, fuck, man. That's why I think like these AI agents, which I haven't played with, I wonder if they'll make it a lot easier for people to do it, or if the AI agents are going to be like, what the fuck? We can't figure this shit out either.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that there are some projects that are trying to like make everything smooth for users, but it has become so complex that I think it's nearly impossible to make things easy.
It's incredible. Like I'll look at it just like today, I was looking at a trace for a transaction, and this thing was pages and pages and pages and pages long, and all these interactions. I'm like, my God, how this works is incredible. It's incredible it all works, and like it's so cool. But trying to guide people to say, okay, this is what you got to do. Um, it's still, we're still figuring this out, but thinking about AI agents, have you done anything with these yet?
With AI agents,
Yeah,
not at all.
like I'm hearing people say, "Oh yeah, you could use it for." All right, I want to, just anything I want to do, I type it into an LLM. Basically, hey, take this capital, go ahead and put it in this protocol's pool on this chain. Let me know when it's done, and here's a signature for whatever, and then it just does everything for you.
Oh yeah.
Like,
That's
and then you could also say, oh yeah, and then set a limit order and do this, just all these steps, and it could be out there, kind of, cron job on steroids, just monitoring everything and just acting on your behalf.
okay. Do you have like example of these AI agents?
I don't. I've just been seeing it on X, and that's what people are pitching. And of course, there's all these ideas out there, and people are creating some products to do it. But I think that's it. That's the gist.
Yeah, I need to look at that. Seems really cool.
Yeah, sounds cool. If it works, I mean, great. But
Yeah.
Fuck.
It's always the problem. Like, if it works, it's cool, but
It is very
sometimes
cool.
it just does not work.
I have to drop. We need to drop our alpha drop. I sorry I didn't prepare you for this. Are you familiar with the alpha drop?
Like, I need to drop some
You
alphas.
better drop some fucking alpha. Yeah. All right. I'll drop mine first. We're doing the motherfucking alpha drop. Alpha drop for today is actually going to be quite simple. Even though I have the master on here, zigtur, who's mastering Go, Rust, and Solidity, I'm going to drop some clear alpha that even retarded Spider-Man can can still find bugs out there. Is the simple keyword in Solidity called delete. And when you see delete, look very carefully, like everything, but delete can lead you to find some interesting bugs that the devs may not have thought of, because what delete does, it deletes an item in a mapping. But it doesn't delete it, it just zeroes it out. So that mapping item, that still exists. So if you want to look in your history, anyone, but you could look at the old Frax staking farms that have now been phased out. They had a bug, and they had this where they would delete something in the stake, and it was called, the ID was called Kek ID, KEK underscore ID, and you could make it zero, and then so basically you could do a stake with no lock. And there's another, you could add to a stake but have zero lock. You can create a stake with zero lock, but it looks like it was locked. And I looked at that 10 ways from Sunday, trying to leverage that into a bigger bug before they finally fixed it. But you just never know. So delete is my alpha drop today. It's a very cool one. You just never know what's going to happen when that gets zeroed out. All right, zigtur with no preparation. Pull one off the hip. See what you got.
Yeah, so that would be on the Anchor framework for Solana. Are you used to it?
I've never looked at Solana.
Okay.
I'm embarrassed. What is that?
So, yeah, to really summarize how Solana works, you know that in the EVM, you have your code and your storage that are attached. Like, they are really linked together. In Solana, it's really different. You have accounts, and your executable code is in an account, and your data are in another account, and can be in multiple accounts. So when you are making a transaction, you have to attach accounts to your transaction, to say, okay, this code is gonna read this account, and it's gonna write another account. So let's say that there are 3 accounts. Then the Solana virtual machine would just verify that the program, so the executable code, is allowed to write to the given accounts, on which write operations are needed. And in the Anchor framework, the thing is that you are passing these accounts to the instruction that will be executed, and it just deserialize all the data from the account and keep them in local memory, such that if you are modifying some fields of the account in the transaction, in the instruction, you this may not be reflected directly on the real storage accounts. And basically, if you are writing to the account, forcing to write it, and then do not reload it, then you may have data that is not up to date because you just made a write, and the data you are reading is the old data and not the new one. So yeah, when you are writing in Anchor to an account, you have to reload this data to deserialize the data again.
Can
that
you
can
spell
get,
that? That ankle? Is that what you're saying?
yeah, Anchor framework. It's ANCHOR.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
and what it does basically is it just abstracts a lot of checks that are done for the Solana environment, but it's still Rust.
Okay.
And if you want to optimize things, you can just write native Solana in pure Rust, but it's not really recommended for security reasons.
Okay, cool. Oh, that's a good drop, man. Very nice drop. I've never looked at Solana, and I don't know. Should I? You think it's worthwhile? You think that ecosystem survives as the shitcoin
Yeah,
casino, or what? How does it go forward?
I mean, it's more degen than Ethereum, but they have some interesting concepts. Like at first, I was not understanding why do we need to pass the accounts we are reading and writing to, we are reading from and writing to our transaction. Like it feels weird because we are not doing that in EVM, but at some point I just understood, okay, if I have two transactions that are not calling the same accounts, I can just parallelize everything. I don't need to go in a sequential way because they are not writing to the same accounts. And that's why, so that's part of why the Solana VM is pretty efficient. You have a lot of transaction per second when the chain is not down.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I've still never used it. I've still never used. I think the tech might be cool. I've just, like I said, there's just so much stuff, so little time, and you need to determine where your time is best spent.
Yeah, for
So, new
sure.
guys in this space, and I get messages from a lot of you. And I looked at my analytics for this podcast. It's 100% male. It is. It's the majority is 18 to 24, and it's vast majority 18 to 24. So the young guys out there just getting started, what advice would you give to them? Should they do contests? Should they do bounties? How should they start? Should they focus on Solidity? Go? Anything? Any tips you could drop?
Yeah. Okay, so first, I think that the tech you are starting with is not really important. What is important is to understand all the basic blocks that you are using. Like, what is a blockchain? A blockchain is just using the internet, so having servers that communicate with each other, and you need cryptography for signature purpose. And when you know that, you can just it's nothing new than just this. You have the virtual machine concept, so you have to understand what is a virtual machine. And when you put all these blocks together, you understand everything. Do not focus on one specific tech, because when this tech dies, you don't know anything else. Uh, and it's good to start with one for sure. And after, another another advice that I can give is that have to do you have to try, you have to fail to really improve yourself. If you are always waiting for the perfect timing or for the perfect knowledge before starting, you will never start, because the perfect conditions does not exist. You just have to try and fail, and yeah, that's it.
Agreed. Agreed. Very good tips. All right, I got the last question for you, and this is worth all the points. Brie or Roquefort?
So we are speaking about cheese. Yeah, that's a good one. I would say Rockford because I was hating I hated it when I was young. Like it was really bad for me, but now it's pretty good. So
It is
I
good.
love it.
All right, I'm with you on that. I dig it. All right, Zigtur, you are the man. Thank you for coming on. This broke the rules a bit. Not a bounty hunter yet, but I know he's going to get bored, and he will do it. And I wanted to bring you on because I think what you're doing out there is very impressive, and I'm following your contest. I love to see you dominating. I love to see the Spider-Man hitting the charts there. So
Yeah, I need to do new Photoshop
no,
with this
no, it's so good.
this Spider-Man.
Hey man, thanks for coming on, and we will see you on the blockchain.
Yeah, see you.